if I was gonna have to go with one right now, I think I'd go with the octopus, because one, these cephalopods are like, they show the most alien-like intelligence that we have on the planet, but I think they are intelligent in a way also that we can't comprehend. That I'm trying to take a leaf out of their book, where they are so aware and of the moment that they're in, and I mean that in the sense that they are able to adapt not just color wise but like texture wise to their environment. And I think life is, especially my life right now, is all about adapting and moving and really like assessing and making things work for different places, for different people, and kind of bringing as many people on board as possible. I don't know why, but octopuses inspire me for that, because they're the creatures that I think are the most intelligently aware of their environment and so inquisitive. With basically 8 brains. They have like a central donut brain, and then each limb has its own brain. So they're multitasking, and I think my life is chaotic right now in the most beautiful way, because I've combined my two loves of music and nature finally, and it seems, touch wood, like that it keeps going, but it feels like I'm finally doing something that I really love, but also matters to the world, and I think is important and has like a real urgency right now. And I feel like there's 1,000 people wanting my attention at the same time, and it's a madness juggling it. But if I could just have like an octopus's 8 brains for a minute, I'd probably make it a little bit easier. What's the biggest lesson nature has taught me? That I'm tiny and insignificant, and not in a bad way, in the sense that it's like, actually, I take that back. It's not that you're tiny and insignificant. It's actually that you're super significant, because you're part of this huge system. Even if you feel like you're not in moments, especially when you're living in cities, it can feel like you're not connected to this planet, and that's an awful thing that we need to change as human society. But the reality remains that we are connected to it, because we cannot breathe without it, we can't eat without it, we can't exist without it in any shape or form. And if you don't believe me, try going to space and seeing how long you'll last. We are part of this planet, and we evolved to be part of this planet. That's why we can exist here so well, because this is us. And it's, I think the thing that nature has taught me so much, whether that's through being in nature, whether that's through taking like medicinal like mushrooms or plants that I feel like is nature just letting you glimpse a little window of it a bit more, like putting on Mother Nature's glasses a little bit. I feel that it is showing us that we are the point where my skin or my body, where I feel like it ends and something else begins, is actually far more blurred than we would can ever imagine. We are so part of this phenomenally complex, amazingly reliant on each other's system. Every single organism in here is there for a reason. Every single organism has a purpose. And, we are walking around in a universe of complexity of different lives that are happening all over the place. Like, like if you think about a tree, if you cut down a tree, you're not cutting down a single tree, you're cutting down a universe. How many bugs, how many like birds, how many different animals live on that, how many fungi are connected to it, how many other trees are connected to it, and how much knowledge that creates or water it puts into the environment. And if you think of yourself like that, we have, there's that classic fact that there's more cells of other animals in our bodies, other organisms. They might be microscopic, but more cells of other organisms in our body than our own. We are a walking universe too. So, value yourself as like that tree, and it should hurt if you see a tree cut down, because it's part of us. We are losing a limb of ourselves, and we may not recognize it until that last tree is cut down, that it is totally part of us and we cannot live without it. It is like cutting off a limb. And I hope it never gets to that. I hope that we do realize that. And I think, you and everything we're doing here is a good testament to that. There's been two places, Dominica, in the Caribbean, back home in Dominica, just by one of the many waterfalls we have. Being able to drink the water in the river because it's so clean, and I know sadly that's so rare on the planet. It's this pristine, vibrant place in the Caribbean that needs to be saved at all costs, and kept how it is, because it's a very special place. And the other happy place is lying on a rock in the river Ilakulin, next to Yaktun Yaku, which is in the Kichwa community of Serena, near Tena in the Amazon in Ecuador. And that place, I lay on that rock, just listening to the sounds of the Amazon. And this is in my boys' community they invited me to, and being there with their invitation and being shown nature through their eyes, like a community, a nation that has lived in the Amazon for thousands of years. Like, there's nothing quite, there is no scientist on earth that could show me an ecosystem as well as they could, because it wasn't just like a bunch of species or something to be described. It was the feeling there, and it was life, and the river was their playground, their water source, where they wash. It was a life vein. And the animals too. The forest was their pharmacy, their larder, like their playground, their source of inspiration and art. And it was the most relaxed I've ever been. And I can't nap. I get stressed, I get anxiety, I feel all the woes like everyone gets. But the only place I can nap and switch off is when I'm in nature. And that place, particularly on that rock, lying in the sun with like the biggest butterflies you've ever seen in your life flying past my head, is the one, man.